Hello friends, I'm Pankaj Sharma and as promised, I'm back with module 4 of my 5 module series on enterprise risk management for dairy business. As we know, in the first 3 modules, we have talked about the basic concept of ERM, the importance of ERM in dairy industry, the differences between traditional risk management and enterprise risk management, the statutory requirement of ERM as per the Companies Act, and the organization structure needed for the implementation of ERM. Having understood the basics about the ERM, now in module 4, we will be talking about the whole process. We will be detailing the whole process for the implementation of the system in an organization. If you find this video useful and interesting, please like it. And in case you have not subscribed to my channel so far, please do so by clicking at the subscribe button. If you want to refresh the concept or if you have missed out on any of the previous modules, you may go through them by clicking at the link given at the end of this presentation. Enjoy the video and I will be eagerly waiting for your feedback on the quality as well as the usefulness of the presentation.
The ERM process is detailed in the subsequent slide. The ERM process starts with the identification of risks across the organization. A number of risks will be common across various departments and strategic business units, and there will be specific risk for a particular department. The number could be almost 200 to 300 if a detailed exercise, a comprehensive exercise is carried out. When all the risks are then classified basis the type of impact a risk can have on the organization. And once the classification has been done, all the risks are then polarized basis the probability of their occurrence and severity of the impact of the risk. In next step, all the risks are assessed against a defined risk appetite and tolerance limit of the organization, and basis that for each risk a mitigation plan is developed and implementation is carried out. Identification of risks. Risks are to be identified at corporate as well as SBU, unit or department level using a standard template across the organization, which helps in streamlining the process of risk identification. Risk identification is carried out both with top-down and bottoms-up approach. Various methods like brainstorming, questionnaire survey, individual interviews, historical data or event analysis, Delphi technique, etc. are used in the process of identification. All types of regulatory risks, penalties, litigations need to be identified irrespective of their financial impact. And this is a continuous process which is carried out through periodic assessment and reporting. Basis the type of impact a risk can have on the organization, the risk can be classified as below in these 6 categories: strategic risk, operational risk, financial risk, compliance related risk, reputational risk, and IT and cyber security risks. Strategic risk is that risk which emerges due to external environment, changing economic scenarios, adverse business decisions, failure to implement appropriate decisions consistent with organization's strategic goals and interests. And strategic risk impacts the organization's capacity to meet its strategic objectives or even threaten its very existence. Some of the examples could be competitive risk, example Nirma versus Surf, change risk, pager versus mobile, regulatory risk, plastic ban impacting packaging industry or diesel ban impacting transport industry, failed decision risk, example is setting up a dairy plant in red zone declared due to critical water table. Operational risk summarizes the uncertainties and hazards a company faces when it attempts to do its day-to-day business activities within a given field or industry. It is the risk of losses caused by flawed or failed processes, policies, systems, or events that disrupt business operations. Employee errors, criminal activity such as fraud, and physical events are among the factors that can trigger operational risk. The process to manage operational risk is known as operational risk management. Examples could be absence of a robust process, no or low preventive maintenance at a plant, for example, undue cost cutting, engaging subpar manpower to save on employee cost, impacting overall performance, low controls, example, over dependence on outsourcing without proper third party controls or willing participation by employees in fraudulent activities undetected by processes and controls. The list could be endless. Financial risk is the possibility of losing money on an investment or a business venture. It is a type of danger that can result in the loss of capital or net worth for the interested parties. Common and distinct financial risks include credit risk, adverse movement of financial instruments, including foreign exchange rate fluctuations, settlement risk, or abnormal shift in interest rates. Liquidity risk, like asset liquidity risk or funding liquidity risk. Operational risk, like fraud risk due to lack of controls, or model risk due to faulty business model. Financial risks affect businesses in different shapes and sizes. The awareness about the financial risk is a must in the entire organization. However, knowing the dangers and strategies to protect oneself does not eliminate the risk completely. It mitigates the harm and reduces the chances of negative outcomes. This is one of the most important and critical risks and would need a separate, detailed discussion. Compliance risk is the potential for losses and legal penalties due to failure to comply with laws or regulations. Categories of compliance risk may be workplace health and safety risk, for example, accidents or repetitive strain injuries or stress to the employees, environmental risk, for example, damage to living organisms or environment arising out of organizations' activities like pollutants, etc. Corrupt practices risk like bribery or fraud by employees or agents. Social responsibility risk, for example, harm caused to employees or people at large due to organizations' activities like mining activity, causing health hazard, or effluent flow of a dairy plant impacting water sources in the vicinity. Quality related risks like low quality product or service not meeting the regulatory standards. Process risks like process failure resulting in legal violations like lower weight, rotten product, foreign matter in product, or even incorrect accounting or reporting affecting duty towards stakeholders. Risk arising from non-compliance with internal policies or procedures or non-adherence to contractual terms and conditions are also classified under this risk. Reputational risk is a threat or danger associated with brand management and reputation of the company. It can occur in the following ways: directly, as the result of the actions of the company; indirectly, due to the actions of an employee or employees; tangentially, through other peripheral parties such as joint venture partners, suppliers, or some other prominent player in the industry, especially applicable to food and dairy industry. It is a hidden threat or danger which can erupt out of nowhere and without warning, and even an isolated event may snowball into a big controversy, like detergent found in a big tanker, causing immense loss of credibility for the entire dairy industry in North India in early 2000s, or monosodium glutamate (MSG) found in Maggi noodles, threatening the very existence of Nestle in India in 2015. Reputational risks can also arise from the actions of errant employees or promoters, such as egregious fraud or massive trading losses disclosed by some of the world's biggest financial institutions. Examples of Satyam, ILNFS, Wells Fargo Bank, etc. spring to mind immediately. I'll just give an example of a big bank, Wells Fargo. The reputational risk exploded into full view in 2016 in Wells Fargo when the scandal involving the opening of millions of unauthorized accounts by retail bankers and encouraged or coerced by some supervisors was exposed. The CEO, John Stumps, and others were forced out or fired. Regulators subjected the bank to fines and penalties, and a number of large customers reduced, suspended, or discontinued altogether doing business with the bank. Wells Fargo's reputation was tarnished, and the company had to rebuild its reputation and its brand at a substantial cost and efforts. IT and cybersecurity risks. With digitization becoming the buzzword, impacting almost every facet of our lives, cybersecurity is one of the most important considerations for any business. Cybersecurity risk can emerge as either one or a combination of the following: online threats like virus, spam mails, hackers, etc. Physical threats, floods, fire, bombing, causing damage to the infrastructure. Insider threats, insiders like employees, associates, or friends having access to the IT system, stealing information for frauds and attacks, etc. Data breaches. It happens when someone steals personal information like names, addresses, username, password, and uses it for perpetuating fraud or for commercial purposes. However, this being a purely technical subject, we leave it to the experts to sort out and advise.